the screen. I tilted towards one side. All right, welcome back everyone. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work, and this morning we'll be looking at Cat High Primary P6 Prelim paper from 2023. Let's start off with grammar first. She called the police as soon as she saw the burglar dash over the fence. So over here, we are interested in tenses. Next, let's take a look at some keywords. When she saw the burglar. So over here, we are looking at a first action word, and our blank is the second action word or the verb. Let's take a look at some of the options given. The first one is climb. Second is climbs. Both are in the present tense. However, for the first one, we are looking at the plural form, and the second one, we are looking at the singular form. Next, we have climbed, which is in the past tense, and had climbed, which is in the past perfect tense. This means that one action occurred before second action took place. When we encounter such questions, we need to apply the verbs of perception rule. This means when I have two verbs, my second verb needs to be in the base form, while my first verb can be in other forms. So for this case, we are looking at a past tense. Okay? As such, the only answer that we can use is number 1. She saw the burglar climb over the fence. Now moving on. Question 2. If Lisa dashed about the toy sale, she would have informed us about it. Over here, we are interested in tenses again. Now, let's take a look at some keywords. She would. This is already in past tense. Moving on to our options. No is in present tense and plural. We also have knew, which is in past tense. Knows, present tense and singular. Lastly, we have had known, which is in the past perfect tense. This is similar to what we have talked about in the earlier question. So we observe that this sentence happened in the past. So Lisa informing us will be in the past tense. But if she had some information about the toy sale, it needs to be before she can inform us, right? If we're going to talk about it logically. So if she has information, this would mean that having the information is the second action that occurred in the past. As such, we will need to apply the past perfect tense, which shows me that this knowing about the information occurred first and was completed. Then she could inform us about the toy sale, and both events happened in the past. So the answer for question 2 will be number 4, if she had known about the toy sale. Okay, Hwa Chong, just take note, because these two actions did not happen together. One happened before the other. Okay. Moving on to question 3. The collection of rare coins, as well as a few antique stamps, dash currently on display at the exhibition. We are interested in subject-verb agreement here. First keyword is collection. There's only one collection, which means this is singular. Next, currently, which means that it is in the present tense. As such, our answer is number 1. Do take note that there are 2 commas here, which means that this piece of information here is extra info. So we do not consider this when choosing our answer. Moving on, question 4. Dash of the guests at the party was given a welcome pack. So we are looking at some determiners here, which are words to convey quantity. We observe that the word was is used. So this means that at the start, it is either something that is singular, or you need to use something that starts with the E. Every, each. Okay, that's why our answer will be number 3. If the starting word is plural, then we will need to use were given. Okay. Moving on. Dash from being an accomplished pianist, Esman is a skilled painter. Over here, we are interested in conjunctions. And we observe 2 different strengths of Asman. He can play the piano, and he also can paint. So we need to link these 2 similar ideas together. Hello, Xing Zom, and yep, Charlene. Yes, very good. As what most of you have pointed out, the answer will be apart, because of this word here, apart from. Okay, apart, as mentioned earlier, is used. If you use besides, you cannot have the word from. So it will be besides being an accomplished pianist. Okay. So option 1 and 3 show similar. Is used to link the similar ideas together. But when you use besides, there will not be a word from here. Okay. Despite and although are used to show contrast. Okay, with that, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I shared before we move on to the next section. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at question 6. She's been playing the guitar since she was young, dash, asked Mrs. Lee. So we're interested in a question tag here. And looking at our question, we observe since she was young, which means that the action began in the past and is still continuing now. This will affect the interpretation of she's. This could mean she is or she has. If I do not have this extra information that since she was young, then I would likely look at she is. But because there is this additional clue here, and this tells me that the action was has begun in the past and is still continuing until the present, then we will use she has, because has been playing is in the present perfect continuous form. This means that my action began in the past and is still continuing now. All right. As such, if we were to use she has, so it will be a positive connotation here, and I will require negative connotation at the back, which will be hasn't she. Okay, very good. Hwa Chong, that will be our answer. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at question 7. Neither Rahim nor his siblings dash playing badminton with their father every Thursday. Over here, we are only interested in one keyword, siblings. This is plural, and therefore it will affect my answer for the blank. The first one and the first two are in the present tense. The only difference is enjoy is in the plural form, while enjoys is singular. Next, we have has enjoyed, which is in the present perfect form, and are enjoying, which is in the present continuous form. Present perfect means that the action completed, but the effect is still felt. Present continuous means that the action was ongoing as we speak. Okay? Now, we observe that the sentence start with neither, that means zero, nobody. And we will have the idea impression that it will be singular. But we need to apply the rule of proximity. That is, the noun or the pronoun that is nearest to this blank will affect the blank. So siblings is plural. We will use enjoy, number 1. Okay? Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at question 8. The determined hiker made a beeline dash the summit, eager to conquer the world's highest peak. Over here, we are interested in prepositions. And we observe that he made a beeline. That means he rushed towards the peak. Rush in a specific direction. And we will ask, what is he rushing towards? The summit. So this is this is an elaboration of what the hiker is rushing towards. Okay. Okay, with that in mind, let's take a look at our options. At shows location. For is used for elaboration. From is used to show a source, while along is used to show direction. Yes, very good, Hwa Chong. As what you have pointed out, because we are looking at an elaboration, the answer will be number 2, which is 4. Now, let me just give you some examples of when we use the other options. If we use at, so we'll say the dog is at the vet now. That means we are looking at a particular place. The now is at. From shows a source. I bought the chicken rice from the coffee shop. So we are looking at where something came from. Along shows a particular direction. So if I say that I'm walking along the street, that means I'm following the contour of or the shape of how the street runs. Okay. Moving on, let's take a look at question 9. By the time she called me last night, I dashed my dinner. We are interested in tenses again. And if we observe, called here is in past tense. And this action here happened before she called me. So I'll call this action number 1, and the underline dash as action number 2. Okay, I can see K Ling Jua is fast. All right, let's just take a look at the options before I give you the answer. Finish here is present tense and plural. Finished is in past tense. Has finished is in the present perfect tense, which means that my action has been completed, but the effect is still felt. Lastly, we have had finished. Yes, sorry, your answer is number 2. No, the answer would be number 4. When we use number 2, this tells me that action 1 and action 2 happen at the same time, which is not the case. So we'll use action 4 because it is in the past perfect tense. And this tells me that one action has been completed before second action occurred. So if I were to put it on the timeline, you finish your dinner first, then someone call you. And both of these happen in the past. Alright? So in order to demonstrate this chain of events, we will use past perfect. Yes, Charlene, our answer is number 4. Good job. Alright, moving on. Let's take a look at number 10. Louis is one of the many boys who dash in the mathematics Olympiad every year. So we are looking at tenses here. The first thing to take note is Louis. This is singular. But if you observe, we are not looking at Louis alone, but we're looking at the many boys. And this is plural. And because this is nearer to our blank, this will take precedence when choosing the correct option. Alright. The next word we are interested in is every, which shows habit. Therefore, my answer will be in the in the present tense. As such, we will be looking at participate. Okay, not participates. Both participate and participate with the S are in present tense. Just that we are using participate because of this plural subject before our blank. Okay. If we just say Louis is a boy who participates, then it's acceptable. So I'm saying if we cancel out all this, then participates is accepted. Was and were participating are in the past continuous tense. This means that the action was continuing sometime in the past. Usually we use this when the time period isn't really specific. For example, I was eating dinner in the evening. The evening is a very long period of time. So we are just saying that within this time period, you did a particular action. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I shared before we look at the next question. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat group. Okay, let's go on to our vocabulary section now. Question 11. The manager had to dash a plan to boost the company's sales. So we are looking at a plan, which is some strategy. It's also a formal thing. The first one we have invent, which means you want to create or design something that didn't exist before. Next, devise means that you want to plan or implement something. Next, we have concord, which means that you combine ingredients to make a dish. Lastly, we have fabricate, which is to invent something to deceive. So usually we'll talk about people fabricating stories. So in other words, they are telling lies. All right, back to our question. We can see that we are looking at strategy planning. So the closest option that we have is actually number 2, device, which means that you are trying to implement something. And if you want to use invent, usually it will be linked to something that is tangible. So you need to invent some kind of product, then it makes more sense. All right. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at question 12. question 12 reads, the pupils made an agreement to dash their differences and work together to complete the project. So we are looking at how they want to ignore their differences and be cohesive as a team. Put off here means you delay an event until a later date. Put down means that you stop using force. Put aside means you ignore or forget your differences to solve problem. While put away means that you put something in place where it is kept. Yes, very good, Hwa Chong. So we are looking at ignoring our differences. The answer would be number 3. Now let's go on to question 13. Even after being caught cheating during the examination, William failed to dash the seriousness of the situation. So the keyword is seriousness. So we are looking at how William could not understand what is happening, despite being very serious, which is over here, being caught in cheating. Let's take a look at the options given to us. Seize here means you take hold of something suddenly. Admit means that you confess something is true. Grasp means that you understand something that is difficult or situation. While grapple means that you fight to win something. Since this question talks about how someone cannot understand or appreciate the situation, the closest answer we have would be to grasp the situation. Okay, therefore our answer would be number 3. Moving on, let's take a look at question 14. The teacher dashed important information about the upcoming excursion to her pupils. So the only keyword we have is information. So we're looking at how this information was being passed on to the students. First one, disperse, which means that you distribute over wide area. For those of you who take science, you'll know that when we talk about seed dispersal, that means we are looking to throw or allow the small little seeds to be planted at a wide area. That's why we have different methods of dispersal. Distributed means that you share an object with someone. So we could say that you distribute the chocolates to your classmates. That means you give everybody a small little piece of what you have. Dispatch means you send something to a destination. For example, you dispatch a parcel to your grandfather's house. Lastly, disseminated means you want to spread your information widely. And this is basically what we are interested in here when you want to share information regarding the excursion. Okay, so our answer is number 4. Moving on. Question 15 reads, the government officials warned the residents of the city that an earthquake was dash and could strike the area at any moment. This is the keyword, at any moment. That means something is about to happen. Imminent with the E means that you are famous or you are a respected person. Pertinent means that something is relevant to you or applicable to you. That's why we usually say there is pertinent information about something. Imminent with the I tells me that something is about to happen. While prominent means something is important or famous. You say a prominent preacher, prominent minister, things like that. Okay? So because of the time period, which is like any time, we need to choose imminent with the I, because it expresses this meaning. So number 3. Alright, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information before we look at the vocab close. Moving on, let's take a look at the vocab close. I will read out the passage to you and we will discuss the underlined words. After that, then we'll take a look at the options given to us. It all started as a small influenza in China. We thought we were safe. We thought it was nothing serious. A small virus could not cause much trouble, could it? We made guesses about its origin. When you talk about guesses, it means that you come to some kind of conclusion without sufficient or enough evidence. It came harder than anything we had faced. The virus claimed lives by the thousands. Our economy was smashed like a wrecking ball. The wrecking ball here is basically a large ball meant to cause destruction. Okay? In the wake of the coronavirus, when we talk about wake, it means something happens after something else. In Singapore, the number of cases rose to 60,000. Rose means there's an upward movement, or you could call it an increase. However, to my dismay, my condition seemed to worsen with each passing hour. Dismay means that you have some sort of distress caused by unexpected situation. Okay, let's take a look at our options now. Question 16 means conclusion without sufficient evidence. Okay, let's make guesses. Let's take a look at the options given to us. Mild. Mild means you think about something carefully. For a long time. Considered means you think carefully also. But maybe the time period wouldn't be so long because it's not specified in the meaning. Question means you ask someone something. While speculated means that you form a theory without evidence. And this would mean, and option 4 here would be the closest option to what the text is asking for. So basically, at the start of the pandemic, people weren't really sure what is happening, but they were just trying to come up with their own opinions or their own views of certain things. Now, let's take a look at question 17, like a wrecking ball. We need to understand that a wrecking ball is used to demolish buildings. So old buildings that cannot be used anymore, they will use the wrecking ball to knock it down. All right. But in this case, we are looking at how the economy was smashed like a wrecking ball. So we are not looking at a literal wrecking ball destroying the economy, but rather the effect of destruction is very similar to, how the economy was affected by COVID. So let's take a look at our options. Ruthlessly means without pity or compassion. Carelessly means someone is reckless or without showing care or attention. Cautiously means that something is done deliberately to avoid problems. While effortlessly means you don't have to use physical, so no physical or mental exertion. As such, when looking back at our question, which talks about how the economy was badly damaged, we would use the term ruthlessly. Okay, so there isn't you can't search up this meaning of ruthlessly in the dictionary that will have some kind of link to the wrecking ball. But we need to understand how the wrecking ball conveys certain deeper meaning that is beyond the literal meaning. So when we talk about destruction and how the construction wrecking ball will just knock down everything in its path, this idea that you don't even bother or don't even care about what happens to the things that are being hit, that's where there is this idea of ruthlessness, and therefore we will choose this as the closest option. Okay, let's move on to question 18. Question 18 is in the wake of something, which means happens after after something else. That means we have event 1, and if we say in the wake of event 1, we are looking at event 2. that happens immediately after. Okay? The first one is in the midst of, that means in the middle of event, like halfway through the event. In the event of means if something happens. In the effects of means you're looking at the outcome of something. While in the aftermath of means a period of time that follows another unfortunate event, unpredicted or unpleasant event. So we are looking at one after the other in this case, and the closest answer we have would be number 4. All right. Now moving on, looking at question 19. Rose. Rose means there's an upward movement, upward trend, something is increasing. The first word we have is climb. Climb means something is moving up. It could be your literal human being climbing up the staircase, or you can talk about a trend. The numbers are climbing, which tells me that something is increasing very quickly. Elevated means you raise something to higher position. While expanded means that you make something larger or more extensive. While ascended means you climb in height. So looking back at our question, when we talk about the increase in numbers, the closest option would be something is moving up. Because climb is the only word here that implies that something is increasing. The rest are all related to height. It's very specific. That means you cannot like talk about numbers, because the numbers obviously cannot climb up a ladder and be at a higher position. Lastly, we have question 20. Dismay. Dismay shows some kind of distress caused by an unexpected situation. So looking at our options here, the first one is horror. Horror means there is an intense feeling of shock or disgust. Next is frustration, which means that you are upset due to the inability to change situation. Thirdly, we have annoyance, which means that you are irritated. Lastly, we have disappointment, which shows sadness due to the inability to fulfill one's hope. So looking back at our question, we're interested in dismay, which means you are sad, you feel angry because you are unable to change the situation. So the closest option we have here would be number 4, because there is this element of sadness due to the inability to change one situation is also very similar to how you cannot fulfill one's hopes. Because when you hope for something, it means that you want the situation to be aligned with what you have in mind. Okay? Now, frustration is very close, but when we talk about dismay, there's always this element of sadness or disappointment per se, okay, and not so much about anger. Therefore, our answer will be option number 4. With that, we have come to the end of our vocab close. I'll just give everybody some time to take in the information I've shared before we move on to our section B. Now, if there are no further questions, let's go on to the section B. Travelers acquainted with Singapore will probably already know of our city's national icon, the mythical Merlion. There are 7 authorized Merlion statues dash the island. So when we talk about island, that means we are looking at a very big place and how these 7 statues are being in positioned in 7 locations around Singapore. Okay. Now you can see that we don't have around. So the other preposition that we can use to show this how these 7 statues are scattered across different places is A, across Singapore. The most well-known dash, the one found at Merlion Park. So this one tells you that we are looking at a singular subject. And this whole text so far is in present tense. So we'll say the most well-known one is or being the one found at Merlion Park. Before you visit this tourist spot, you may want to learn more about the symbolism dash the Merlion. So when we have symbolism, all these will come before you create that statue. So if I'm going to draw a timeline, the creation must only be done after you have come up with the story, which is your symbolism. So we are looking at how before the Merlion was created, there was some story behind it. Therefore, we will say we will learn more about symbolism behind the Merlion. And how it intertwines dash our nation's history. We're looking at how the nation's history and the Malayan share similar traits, and you can say that they are complementary with one another. So we will say they intertwine with our nation's history. Okay. So according to the legend, the Sang Nila Utama, a prince landed on our shore amidst a storm. He spotted a strange creature which he identified as a lion. He saw this dash a good omen and decided to name the island Singapura. So when you see this, you perceive something, it will always be you saw this as, because this is what he thinks. This is his perception. So when you see something, you'll be as a particular object. Now, we are looking at this term, and this term means Lion City. So we are trying to substitute Singapura by a word here, a pronoun. So we will use which because we are talking about non-humans. Today, the Malayan continues to be a beloved symbol of Singapore. You can glimpse echoes of this legend embodied dash the statue at the Malayan Park. So all these stories are built, or they come together, and therefore it forms this Malayan story. So when you embody something, it may not be the physical kind of material, but we are looking at the kind of ideas and how they are all put together and related to the Malayan. So we'll say they are embodied in the statue. Okay, so it will be K. Sprouting water dash its mouth. So this is the source of the water. As such, we'll use the term from to emphasize the source. The Malayan statue stands dash 6.8 meters. So we're looking at this particular height. And we need a preposition to show, to point out this particular height. As such, we'll use it stands at 8.6 meters. So we also know that it was originally at the mouth of the Singapore River and built by Lin Neng Seng. Dash completion of Esplanade Bridge in 1997, the statue could no longer be viewed clearly from the waterfront. So we are looking at how this completion occurred first, then the statue could no longer be viewed clearly. So if we are looking at this particular event and how this event led to other consequences, we will say upon the completion. Okay. And with that, we have come to the end of our grammar close. Are there any questions? If not, let's take a look at our editing. Being adventurous, Tom decided to explore the dense woods. After hiking for an hour, he stumbled upon a dash cave. So over here, we're looking at adjective and Hiding is a verb, it's an action word. As such, I'll need to change the word form to hidden. Excited by the prospect of discovering something new, Tom entered the cave. He maneuvered his way along the winding pathway. So this is a spelling error. Little did he dash of the danger that was awaiting him. So when you have already a past tense, did he, and this is another verb, it needs to be in the base form. So it will be, did he know of the danger? As he ventured deeper into the cave, the spelling error, he soon found himself stuck in a narrow passageway. Tom tried to wriggle his way free, but the rocks around him were too dash packed. So we are looking at how these rocks were still in the process of something as we talk, which is tightly. So we need to add the ly at the back. With heartbeat racing and panic rising within him. Panic spelled this way. He started screaming for help, filled with despair. Okay, this is how you spell despair. This is a spelling error. Tom was about to give up hope. Then he remembered another spelling error, something that his grandfather had told him. There was always a way out if one stayed vigilant. With a renewed sense of determination, Tom began to scour the walls of the cave, dash for any crack or opening. So as he began to do something, these actions will become concurrent as we speak. So it will be searching for any crack or opening. Dash looking for 2 hours. So we are looking at how this time period has passed. So instead of when, it will be after he looked for 2 hours. He found a hole big enough for him to squeeze through, and he emerged. This is also a spelling error, into the light. And after that, he felt relieved. All right. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information shared before we move on to our next section. Okay, let's take a look at our Compre close now. Do you know that 8th February is National Kite Flying Day? It is a day to encourage people to get out and enjoy the process of making a kite and flying it. On this day, kite enthusiasts mark the day by dash together to showcase their individual kites and flying them. So when we have this word together, that means there are people who are trying to congregate. So they want to come together as a big group. Okay, so we will use words like by coming together, by congregating together. The idea is we want a large group of people. While the exact origin is unknown, it is believed to have originated in China thousands of years ago. It has since gained dash as a recreational activity all over the world. So you can see all over the world, people will actually engage in this activity here. which means that it is something that everyone knows about. So we'll talk about gaining popularity. Bringing joy and excitement to people of all ages and walks of dash. So when we talk about people of different backgrounds, a common phrase is walks of life. These different stages of life, different lived experiences people have. The first kite was dashed of simple materials like wood and cloth. Over here, we are given the the materials, the raw materials needed. As such, we will say that the kite was made of all these raw materials. Cannot be mixed, because mix has that idea that you are putting the ingredients together and stirring it, things like that. But for the kite, you are just combining the materials together. There isn't any stirring, mashing up, and things like that. Okay. Gradually, kite designers have experimented with new materials, and designs have evolved dash the years. So we are looking at this specific time period and how kite designs have been improving. So we'll use the preposition over the years to talk about this long time period. Okay, very good, Zing Zam Zong. With modern kites made from nylon fabric, which is tear resistant, lightweight, and durable. In the early years, kites were often made to dash the shape of birds. So we're looking at how the kite and the birds they have look alike. So we will use the word they are made to resemble. We cannot say look because there isn't the word like. Okay? Yeah, Zing Zang Zong cannot. If you want to use look, I need to have the word printed here like. Today, they come in elaborate and unique designs. Some kites even have LED lights attached, dash them to allow for night kite flights and light shows. Over here, we are looking at how the LED lights are like fixed on the kites. Okay, so you can say they are attached on them, or you can say attached onto them. Okay, both are accepted. Kite dash are organized in many countries where enthusiasts come together to showcase their creativity. Okay, you can see the next sentence also tell these competitions. So this is a date giveaway. Not kite flying, because we are looking at how there is some element of winning and losing, so it cannot be just purely flying. So they're looking at how the sky decorated with colorful kites that can dash intricate tricks. So when we talk about tricks, you want to show people how you can do some maneuver with the kite, for example. So we will always talk about performing the tricks. They can show intricate tricks. Okay, I will accept show. You cannot form the tricks. Okay? You can form a shape, but not tricks. Because tricks is basically like a performance. Kite flying offers more dash than just entertainment. So we're looking at how then this comparison word. Yes, very good, Zing Zhen Song. More than just an entertainment. You can learn important dash through kite flying. So you see, they tell you patience, perseverance, things like that. This tells you that it is the important. No, patience and perseverance are not memories. They are your values, or you can say they are important virtues. The memories make you remember something. So the learning point is called the values or virtues. All right. So patience is required as you dash for the wind to pick up and carry the kites. So what is patience? Patience is you are there's this element of waiting for someone or something. So it's the same thing. You are trying to wait for the wind to pick up. Perseverance is also needed when your kite fails to launch. Launching in the air may require some running. You can exercise while having fun and may not even realize how dash exercise you have done. So exercise here is uncountable. Okay, so we'll say you don't realize how much exercise you have done. Dash you finally get your kite up. The thrill of seeing something in motion and tossed about by the wind can be truly uplifting. So you can see you're looking at a particular situation here, a particular event. Okay, so we will not say then, but rather you say when, because we are looking at a particular time period or event. If you were to use then, THEN, it means that your previous sentence here is like your step one, then subsequently step two. But for this case here, we are not looking at a step-by-step process of launching the kite. We are just saying that you can get a lot of exercise, but after the exercise, you will feel a sense of fulfillment because your kite is flying in the air. It looks very beautiful. All right. Lastly, uh, truly uplifting dash. So you're looking at this whole process where you fly your kite and you're trying your best to do this. So we would say that the whole thing will be, yes, truly uplifting moment, or can say it's a very good experience. All right. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've shared before we move on to the next section. All right. Why is there two voice? What do you mean by two voices? Okay, let's take a look at question 66. Did you go for the choir rehearsal yesterday? Andy asked me. So we're looking at reported speech. So did you go yesterday? So, and you see, did here is in past tense. So I need to change it to a past participle tense. Whether I had gone for the choir rehearsal that the previous day. Yes, very good. Zing Zam Zong. If, or you can use whether. Yeah, it's not when. Do you know why Zing Zam Zong? So let me just emphasize again. Even though there's a goal here, we are looking at this did, which is in the past tense. So we need to move back by one step. from the past to the past participle. Okay? Okay, moving on. The company is launching a new product this year. So we are looking at a passive to active change or active to passive change. Company and new product. You can see the launching is done by the company. Launching is a verb. My company is doing it. So my company is the subject. And what are we launching? A new product. So that this is the object. So now what is happening is I need my object to be at the start while my subject is at the end. So it will be a new product is being launched why is it has been launched? Yes, a new product is being launched by the company. Please copy everything this year. Please do not use has been because the question itself already tells you is launching. So you just follow the correct tense. When you say has been launched, that means that the action has been completed. But when you say is being launched, it means that the action is still ongoing. When the meaning of your sentence changes, you will not get the marks. Okay, 小魔鬼. Now, let's take a look at question 68. Lisa was shocked by how deep the pool was. So now we are changing deep to from a adjective to a noun. So it will be the depth of the pool shocked Lisa. All right. Question 69. All of us do not want to go Bishan Park for a picnic. So you can see none of us. So when it's none, this means that it must be singular. So it will be wants to go Bishan Park for a picnic. Okay. Lastly, the chefs prepared for the cooking competition. They were enthusiastic about it. So it will be, it was with, you're changing enthusiastic from a verb to a noun. So it was with enthusiasm that the chefs prepared for the cooking competition. Okay. And with that, we have come to the end of our Cat High P6 Prelim paper from 2023. If there are any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, the comment section. If not, thank you everyone for joining me this morning. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work. If you'd like to learn more P5 English with me, do drop by my 2:30 p.m. TikTok live this afternoon, where I'll be covering more in depth in another paper. All right, we'll be looking at what's the paper? We'll be looking at, let's take a look, Henry Park Primary School Primary 6 paper this afternoon, 2:30 p.m. All right. And if you have friends who are in secondary school and would like to learn about paper 2, do join me after this, about 12:10 to 12:15 p.m., where I'll be teaching O-level paper. So I hope that you can learn the tips and tricks to do well in English with me. Okay, if not, see you soon. Bye bye.